Hey everyone, it's Dan the Trading Man. I'm going to be doing a video tonight going over the S&P 500, crude oil, and gold. It's been a while since I did a video going over all of these markets, so I figured I would go ahead and do that and try to show you guys what I'm seeing and those levels that I'm paying attention to. I posted a few videos in the past of day trading oil. That's been primarily what I've been doing this entire summer. Found a lot of really nice setups in there. We're starting to get a little choppy. The month of July was like that. August is kind of like that as well. We'll go into that, why it's acting that particular way. And then we have the S&P 500, which is just, back and forth, can't decide what it wants to do. News events coming out, technical levels being played, and how can we go off of that? And then, of course, gold. Breaking out of levels that we haven't seen in years, and it's unbelievable to see. Um, Having said that, before I go into some details here, we'll see how tomorrow plays out. I might have a video going over my week in trading. This might be my first losing week of the entire summer. That's a pretty long win streak of winning weeks, but we'll see what happens tomorrow, and I might go over, if I take a trade tomorrow, I'll go over what I did there and everything and see how the week ended. Let's get into some longer term levels here, starting with the S&P 500. So this is a 20-day, 30-minute chart that we're looking at. I have some colorful lines here. We have this purple level showing us a bit of resistance you might see here. We have these blue levels drawn that we haven't really hit yet. So all I'm really looking at right now in this area, these are unfilled gaps, right? So we had this unfilled gap here. We moved lower, and we finally started to move back higher. Where did we stop moving higher from? Well, this is from a couple weeks ago. On Thursday, we ran into this level again at this purple level at 29. It was just up, and now I can't see it. It's about 29.32 or so, I want to say. And that came from the close of Friday. And we ended up touching this on Thursday. We fell down, hit it again Friday, fell off. Tuesday we hit it, fell off. Monday of this week we hit it, fell off. We hit it again this morning. I thought maybe we would see us break above here. We did not. We went lower again. I thought we would touch this blue level. We didn't. We moved up higher. Ticked the purple level again, dropped. I mean, this has been very interesting to see. And these blue levels are just the opposite. These are unfilled gaps to the upside. So we had a small gap here. We have another gap right here. We have a gap in this area. These haven't been filled yet all the way to the close, so we might see the S&P 500 bounce off of this area. Now, having said that, I'm going to move to a daily chart just to kind of see what's going on here. Okay, so I have drawn a 50%, it looks like, in this area that we touched back in December. We started to move higher from there. One thing I would point out from this area that's kind of interesting in my opinion is we haven't really pulled back into a 50. It could be considered that we'll pull back and hit 26.85. That's a possibility. On top of that, if you look at the highs where we are right now that we fell off from, we have this high to low. That 50% is really close to these unfilled gaps that we had, and that's been giving us some trouble. Another reason to go lower here. That target is 27.71. This 50 would be 26.85. That's almost 100 points off. Now, from this prior swing low making a new high, we did hit this 50, but we kind of pierced the 61.8 here, making this a little bit unreliable as we move up into the upward direction. So we'll see what happens from this area, and we'll see if we can end up actually breaking higher if we move lower, like I said before. And, again, it's just interesting to see these levels being played that way. Typically, you don't see it this often. And starting to get smaller ranges, too. This wasn't that big of a range. The volatility seems to be slowing down a little bit in terms of this current week. Now, moving into crude oil. This is a 4-year weekly chart that we have up. I'm going to go ahead, just kind of look at some things. So looks like we have a low from 2016. Got close to the 50% here, moved up. We could then look at, this next one, pierced the 61.8, moved a little bit higher now. Typically, when you have a retracement like this, you're going to try to trade the next one and that would have, cleanly broken below. So one thing that I would look at here, and what I was looking at today actually, are some short setups. And we have a high to low in this area. Again, piercing the 61.8, it wasn't perfect, came lower, and then in July we retested that 50, moved lower again, and this, July was a back and forth month from what I remember. We can go ahead, maybe even do like an hourly chart here, just kind of look at the market. Let's even do like a 90-day just to see pretty much the summer, what we've had. And you'll see here, May was up in this area. We had a pretty good trend down. June, a little back and forth. Then we moved higher near the end of the month. And July, when it started. Let's look at this. So July was July 1st is here, right? So this was kind of the start of the month up in this area. And July 22nd, 24th, 25th. Let's go ahead here and just go until we get to, this is August 1st. So this is where it ended. So down here would be our low of that range. And so you can see that we were just stuck in this area for quite some time, moving up and then down and then up again. And so a little choppy, but again, still found some pretty good trades. The only problem is that they weren't as frequent. So I wasn't having trades every day, sometimes only 1 or 2 trades a week even, but still, markets to participate in and play roles in. Now, what I see here is 50% got touched, we moved lower. We ended up making a new high, but we still acted as resistance on this 50 because we moved lower again. And then, made a low over here in August, early August. I remember this moved down actually. I remember this moved down as well before the end of August. That was pretty big. And then now we're starting to move up again. So this has been pretty interesting. If we zoom in into this hourly chart, we can see high to low here, went to its target. If you were to extend this drawing to its new low, it would have hit its 50. Now, I like to take the next one here, and like I said, on the other one, it would have broken pretty clean. 61.8's all the way down here. We break well above that, and so a low to high seems to be a better position. And we end up getting that 50% here, moving a little bit higher from that. I had this on my Twitter, actually. We had this low to high get hit on Thursday of last week, and we even had some setups off of this. I think it was maybe this low to high right here. No, it was this one. This was what I posted. We had this low to high, and we also had this low to high 50% level at 55.19. Move higher, got really close to its target. I can't show a setup that I took day trading, but there was a setup that hit its target intraday, and it's one of my setups that I use very often in day trading. And I do intend on eventually having premium content in which I will show all the setups I use. And that setup did go from this same area. 55.18 was actually the particular level I was looking at. And we ended up going to 57. It was, I think, lower mid 57s that we hit as a target. And then we rotated back down. And again, an indicator that I have showed me that we might move back down from this area before hitting the target. And again, a reason why I took a short in that area. And again, I can't really go into that, but I do intend on having premium content eventually. Now, we have this low to high drawn now because on Thursday morning, which was this morning, we actually hit this 50% at 55.45. The low is 55.44, one tick off. Then we started moving higher. And I thought to myself, we might see a high to low setup here. And that's basically what happened during the day. We had this high to low setup. If I go to an intraday chart at 987 ticks, typically the chart that I use to day trade, you'll see that we had, this low right here. We were making, higher low, some higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows in this area, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Just your typical trend when you're starting to make an uptrend. This is the typical trend you see. Just higher highs and higher lows, right? So we're just following the trend, and then boom, we snap off the trend here. The trend breaks. We end up taking out this prior low, which is generally a signification that we are going to move to the opposite direction. And you can see that from this area, a high to low setup, 50% is hit, 56, 26, and we end up going a cent short of our main 50% level at 29s. But anyways, we go from 26 to our target at 95s, and we just continue to rip lower on the entire day here. Now, this was an hourly chart setup, right? If we go back to the hourly chart, And so one thing that I would probably look at after hitting this target is drawing that next one and see if we continue to go lower. And so we hit that 50% already, and so far oil has, you know, moved lower, but it's starting to move up higher to start going into Friday, that trading session. So we'll see how this goes tomorrow, and how everything plays out there. But some just some interesting levels that are playing in oil right now, and we'll see how that goes. Now moving into gold. Gold is something that people are not talking about enough, in my opinion. If we go to a longer term chart here, like a 4-year weekly, you know, this doesn't even really do it justice. I'll zoom out even more, maybe 15 years or so, it's whatever I can look at. We were down here for a while, obviously moving up higher. Now, if we go to pretty much 2014, end of 2013, end of 2013 to the start of 2014, we had some levels that we just couldn't break above, right? Basically, our 1400 area was just hard resistance. Every time we got close, we would fail. And, you know, this is a big move higher. We got the 1550s. So it's a really nice move higher. There were some low to high retracements taking us there, and other Fibonacci levels as well taking us there. And now we're up here at 1550 on the highs. So let's zoom in and go ahead and take a look on an hourly chart of gold. So gold, you know, we could see a retracement in because we've moved so quickly above 1400, right? Going back out one more time. This is a 2-year daily chart. And May to June is where we really saw that big breakout, where we just went boom up to 1400s. In a matter of a month, we're at 1400. In a matter of another couple months, we're up to 1500s. That's such a big move. So what might happen now is you might see a retracement, a pullback, and then we might continue higher. So what I'm looking for in gold, and really what I've seen for the most part, are some short setups. And again, we have a high to low here, 50% goes to its target. You can go ahead and draw that second one if you'd like. We hit the 50, you know, piercing the 61.8, not too much though, and then we're starting to trend lower again. So just some solid setups here in gold, taking us lower like I thought we might have to do. We'll see if this continues though. You know, we have a pretty big, we had a move here from 1546.10 down to 1490 basically, and our target's 97. So we'll see if we can get to that target and then move below this prior low. But overall, that's what I would look for in gold at the current moment, and go from there. And again, setups in gold as well that I also trade in oil and occasionally the S&P 500 that I'm not going to show on here, but I do intend on having premium content eventually, and we'll dive into all those setups. So if you guys have any questions, comments, anything, go ahead and comment on the video. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Dan the Trade Man. You know, mention me and ask me questions. I'll get back to you. And I hope you guys trade safe and have a good one.